when she gets the date and she turns away and she goes, yes, that was me.
Yeah.
That was me. And the movement directors, I should say performance directors, as they're credited in the game. I will take the credit for that. Thank you very much.
Oh, hell
but
yes.
yeah,
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome on into an amazing, awesome episode of Behind the Voice. I'm joined by yet another voice actor from Baldur's Gate. Samantha is here, played Karlach. Thank you so much for taking the time, for joining. How are you doing?
Hey there, it's my pleasure. I'm really well. It's a London summer, which means we have all the weathers available all day. So it's currently raining outside, but the oppressive heat will soon try and kill me again quite soon.
Yep, it's happening here too. It's raining. It's a weird weather for us. It's hot sometimes. The next day it's raining, and after an hour it's hot again. I'm like, where am I living?
Where are you?
I'm actually from India, so yeah, all the way to the other
but
side.
Where are you now?
I am still in India. So I mean, in the sense
I think America.
That's great.
No, we're known in Britain for moaning about the changeable weather, and I thought you were going to say New York or something like that.
I wish.
Who'd have thought it? Who'd have thought it?
I wish, but you know, I this game, Baldur's Gate, has been just going insane. It's getting crazier and crazier. I have a friend of mine who keeps on telling me after we end up our conversation, he's like, okay, enjoy playing Baldur's Gate, and he just shuts the phone after that, hangs up. I'm like, oh, great, thank you. So like, how has it been? You're like, you know, the support, this love that you're getting for Karlach. A lot of people are fans of it. What has it been for you?
Well, I'll very quickly say it's been the opposite for me in terms of my friends, because we're all PS5 losers. So everyone's just like, don't say anything. I don't want to know. I don't want to know how brilliant she is. So that sucks. But when I am on my phone, it's just been this sort of outpouring of love and appreciation, and everyone, touch wood, has been so considerate and kind in the way that they approach me, and like my follower numbers just shot through the roof, and I don't feel I'm doing anything. So yeah, no, I'm overwhelmed, and I'd say surprise. It's more surprise at the number. And you know, they're great characters, and it's written really well, and it's so sort of narrative first. We knew that we'd get some attention. We didn't anticipate this. I don't think Larian anticipated this.
I guess so, yeah.
But as I said, so far so good.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. I love, you know, the one thing I love about like any games that gets popularity over whatever characters that people love, I love seeing the fan arts. The fan arts are incredible. People just make some insane stuff. I'm like, how do you guys have these talents? Like, what is it like? I've seen some of the fan arts that you have shared on Twitter. They look so good. I love the people's, you know, incredible talents. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I think because I can't draw at all. Like, I don't even bother. It's not something that's in my wheelhouse. So I really, really appreciate the love and effort that's gone into that, and the fact that one art form can inspire another like that. And you know, it takes time. I know they're not just like knocking that out. So yeah. I'm blown away, but I'm just blown away, and I love it, and keep it coming, and I'll retweet as many as I can.
Oh yeah, I just love that. The people just so, you know, pour so much of their hard work into that, and it just looks so amazing. I'm like, I can't do that. But you just like, amazing art is just lovely, and just love. I know
we all have our own talents.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Actually, I will say this. One of my friends, he started playing Baldur's Gate like when it came out, and he was like, a lot of people, you know, started going with Shadowheart a little bit, and I'm gonna keep Shadowheart with me. And my friend is like having both Shadowheart and Karlach. And I was like, I was just talking about like, okay, I've seen you using both Shadowheart and Karlach, and he's like, yeah, but Karlach, she's gonna be with me forever. So I'm like, oh wow, that's okay. So like, I love that people have such a great bonding with this, and I know obviously this character has a lot of, you know, romance scenes, and her backstory is insane. So when you got to know about like the backstory and how the character is, what was your initial reaction at the point, knowing after all of this?
So when you go into a big game like this, they don't give you everything off the bat, and I think there's a bit of psychic casting going on. I think I was the right person at the right time for it, to be quite honest with you, because there's no time to get me up to speed. And also NDAs, like, you know how paranoid the games industry is, because they are, and this is my experience across the board again. So they gave me a very general backstory, which Sarah Bayliss, my writer, has just shared about Karlach generally, but I think it was on one of the community updates. She said if Karlach was around in 2023, she'd roll in on a Harley with a cigar between her teeth, blaring Sabbath, Like she's got a heart. She said a diesel soaked dynamo with a heart of gold, and it's so characterful. Like you've got so much in there. And then for the audition, they gave me different points. They were all the sort of highs and lows. They were all the extreme parts of Karlach. And I obviously did something that they liked, so I got the job based on that. And then when you get the script, it's and again across AAA's, it's an Excel spreadsheet. So good luck. So you have a skim of it, but you're also what you're not getting, and this is a process I use for other media like theatre, film, TV, is you're not getting what other people say about you. So if Karlach was like super arrogant and everyone's just going, oh my God, she's arrogant, and I'm not aware of that, there might just not be that layer in there, for example. So I think you sort of just have to be what they're looking for. She was amazing. How could I not audition for her and shoot my shot and in a Karlach-y kind of way, just put it on the line and go, here I am.
It's amazing. And when my first playthrough, I actually didn't meet Karlach because I was stupid enough for not roaming around so much. But like in the second playthrough, I got an idea, like I'm so stupid, I should really look it up. And I looked it down. I really like Karlach because I don't know, when we meet the first meeting, it's just it's much different than the others, except at least much different than Lae'zel. But it's very fun. It's like a very friendly in a way, and I love that she was that. And the first mission that we do is like going to paladins and like just trying to kill them, and I love that when we just did that and she just went crazy, just destroying everything. I'm like, should I get out of here? Like, am I gonna be in trouble? This is crazy.
I like that the one of the first impressions you get of her is that she might be a bit unhinged.
A bit, yes.
That laugh that she does as well, like Zariel can't touch me, and it's mental. And I'm just glad that that's in there, and that's she's not perfect. Let's put it that way. She hits like a machine, but it's a little bit out of control. This machine.
Absolutely, a lot of out of control. But yeah, I love her journey. It's been so good, and then it's just I love every single character. They have this like certain connection. Everybody has different backstories, and that drives them in various ways. But when you got to when you were doing the recording of Karlach and initial stages, how did you get to the voice of this character? How was that process like? What did you do to finalize this process? I know there was a team behind it, but what else? Like, how the process was for you?
So I think it would be remiss not to mention mocap and the part of mocap in this and the physicality. So she's 7 foot tall. She's really strong. She's not scared of anything, is she? Like there's that, right? And we've got to with that, I don't think we wanted to start with a voice and then build the body around it. We had to go the other way around. And she started off as quite tough, actually. So she was kind of down there, all the time. And they didn't want another edgelord for the team, so we had to go and rewrite some bits and bobs. And then I found overall that the range of her voice goes from down there to right up here, which is really excited about stuff. So we had to justify that. And the one thing that didn't change about the story is her backstory, is that she spent 10 years in hell. So I figured that as long as we keep trauma at the center of everything, she doesn't want to address that trauma until she has to. And I think Zariel's paladins of Tyr, I think, are a good example of when that red button is finally pushed, and then there's more as the game goes on, but few and far between, and she tries to keep that hidden, and sometimes that's by making jokes and things like that. This is the biggest role I've ever played in a video game, so there was an air of self-preservation. I figured I'd have to do this voice for a very long time, so I had to, and also that my sessions were quite close together, so I had to preserve my voice, so I decided to make it as close to mine as possible. They also said they wanted my voice, that the audition is again, it's psychic casting, right? Or they just will take what they're given. I don't know, but undirectable, I don't know. But if we hadn't had if I hadn't had the idea of how big she is, and just the sort of things you can do with gesture, change your voice, I think it would have been a very different kind of voice, if that makes sense. I mean, she as an adult woman, she doesn't need to have a monster voice. I think that's something. I was surprised that she didn't have a barbarian voice, but she's just a girl from Baldur's Gate, right? Who's got a very unlucky hand in life. So we don't want her sounding too out there. What I'd say is, I was thinking about this before we got together, and it's like, okay, so say we've got a you will do what I say. You will do what I say. You will do what I say. very different, and just
Yeah.
two different gestures. You start playing with that with the movement director, because like the last thing they want is you just doing that all the time, because that's the go-to.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it just completely changes you. So there are lots. There's a lot of Karlach just chucking the thing over the shoulder, just going bloody hell. There's a lot of that, and so I would say it was movement and gesture coming together with voice. My version of the accent, which is looser vowels, tighter consonants. It's a secret to it. Just so she had it was a more working class accent, but I didn't want to sound in like a goblin.
Yeah.
Right, you get two awards and she's going to sound like one of them, isn't she?
Yeah.
So we want to go too far, and she's been around Devils for 10 years, so it's probably become a little bit more clipped, a little posher than it would have been.
Yeah,
that's a thought. I didn't think about it too much. It was like more about honoring, the overall story. Sorry, that's a really long answer.
Oh no, that's great. I love the detailed answer, because I know that a lot of people who are like fascinated to hear the story of how they got the voice done, because they love the character so much and want to know more details. So I just love the in-depth. It's amazing. And I just love to love to learn like how everybody processes their own version of how they go for the characters. And that's pretty cool. And I know, like you mentioned, you did, motion capture and all that stuff. So was there any of the challenges at the time when you were shooting, even motion capturing or voice acting? Was there any kind of challenge that you thought like, okay, this is something that is new to me or something like that?
Yeah, so it was a complete learning curve, because I've never done mocap before. So you go in the suit, off you go. This is being recorded. This is the final version. Are you kidding me? Are you actually? So it was a bit stop-start, just because every as far as I'm aware, every motion capture studio has its own rules.
Mm-hmm.
So the rules for the anyone speaking, I suppose, because there was a whole other unit doing the stunts and the love scenes and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But on our own, so first of all, there wasn't another actor in the room with you, right? That was just never a thing. Second of all, there was a certain position you had to begin on and end on at the end of every line, which I've never had to do. And that's a kind of physical discipline that you get into. And it was things like, oh, Sam, your hips off. So that whole emotional scene you're going to have to do it all over again. And kidding me.
Oh my goodness.
It was a little bit painful at the beginning, but as we went through it, became second nature, I'm glad to say.
Yeah, that sounds terrifying to me, but I'm not an actor. But it's just like a thing, like you guys have to do so many different takes to get it perfectly right according to the Larian, and it's so great because there's so many amazing moments this character has, and it's just done so well. So I'm just blown away by just watching every single cutscene of Karlach. I'm like, wow, this is crazy, and it just blows my mind how it makes me feel things in a video game. So it's just absolutely amazing. But you mentioned about the romance scene, and everybody loves romance in Baldur's Gate. I know you had like a whole theme around it, and so how was it like? What was the process like at that point when you had to do these romance voice lines and these scenes in general?
Well, it was headed up in advance, but again, AAA games, because of NDAs, tend not to tell you that this stuff's coming up at the audition point, so it can be a bit of a surprise on the day.
There was like on the day. It was like
just coming. Imagine, right? No, but I said I got the spreadsheet, so I knew it was coming.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't like if it's film and TV. Let's say they will say sex scene required or whatever, which is all interesting wording, and I would say no, thank you very much. But they don't do that in video games, and because it's that degree removed from me, I'm okay with it personally. I think you just have to be going into games like because you're gonna get a shock otherwise. I said I wasn't asked to do anything that I was uncomfortable with. I never had to work with another actor, and I didn't have to mime working with another actor, so that was removed. The rest of it was just, I suppose, whenever they got the crash mats out, you knew something was going down, right? So the crash mat came out, and there I am reclining, saying, "God's on a ride you till you see stars." And I went, "Oh, that's the line from the audition. It's in there now, forever." Yeah, it was fine. I didn't feel it was gratuitous or anything like that. I'm sure the modders will disagree. But yeah, for now, it was all cool with me. They'll get the crew get quite serious and they go, oh, we've got intimacy scenes today. Go,
okay, got it.
Let me know if there's any new lines so I can look at them before. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm also blown away with the fact that you guys have to like act kind of like alone without bouncing off anybody. So that must be requiring a lot of imagination, and obviously you're actors, you know it. But like, it's amazing that you have to like go through that. Did you thought at the time like, oh, I have to do this, or was that a thought in your head like, how will I proceed with this, or was that something that you already knew like, okay, yeah, I can do this, I've done this before, or something like that?
I think I've been very lucky in that I had a British drama school education, which is generally Shakespeare, and then you do some modern plays, and then you get a week of TV and film at the end, right? But the idea being that if you can act, then you can bring it down. What they don't really go into, it certainly didn't go into games when I was there, because that wasn't apparently a thing. They didn't exist till 5 years ago. And audio was sort of seen as an optional thing. And then when I got out, long story short, I ended up doing a lot of audio, but I've still got that very physical training. So actually I feel like I'm very ready to do this sort of game, because it all comes into one. So your imagination is there. Of course, if you do monologues on stage, who are you talking to? Who knows?
Yeah.
And then audio, you're used to working alone. And bless them, our directors either would play through a recorded line with the other actor, which was amazing, or they would act themselves.
Oh wow.
That's always fun, but that's an audio thing as well. I've done whole audio dramas where the director's very flatly just read in the other line, and then you don't hear it for months, and you forget that that's the way you recorded it. You have a false memory of being in the room with other actors, and you have to go, well, hang on a sec. So they do magic. And I'm just, the reason I've watch my scenes and no one else's is I'm going to play, so I don't want to spoil, but also I want to see how it works, how it all fits together, and they've done a bang up job on it.
Oof.
So I'm just going to keep going at mocap, because I think a lot of people still don't know we did it. Or like 248 actors. Don't quote me, for the love of God, do not quote me on this. It might be 250, I might be wrong, but it is around that. If you follow Pit Stop Tweets who've been talking about this, every single one of them did mocap. And I think on a subliminal level, that's why they all feel so good narratively. That's why everyone is just sitting right, with everyone else. It isn't a set of, I don't know, however many, recycled, woman mocap versus man mocap they can just plug you into. And I don't know how the games work, but I just think that should be called out at as a feat, just in games in general, to get that many people in the studio over the years and get all of that down. But I think on a subliminal level, that's what's making this game stand out from a narrative standpoint.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of as you mentioned, it's a lot of mocap artists being there. And I was seeing like a list of all the mocap artists that were part of this game. I was like, wow, that's insane. Like, so many people gave everything to make sure that every single character is done in a way that is, whenever whoever is playing it, whenever they see that character, it's believable to them. They are in that world. So I'm just so glad that people got to, do this in such a great way. And, you guys are so talented, and you guys have done such an incredible job bringing all these characters in. I just love it. Come on.
Stop it. Tell me more.
Oh, man. But, there were definitely some moments, like especially for Karlach, because of her backstory. As you said, like later in the games, we found some things out. But, there must be scenes where there's some emotional factor involved in. How was that day like for you? Was like, how did you go through that? Did you get emotional completely on set? Or was there something else? Like, what was happening during those scenes, especially when it was like emotional scenes time?
Yes, there's two I can think of, and it's about whether or not you want to get into spoilers or not, or I can be quite general about it if you like.
I mean, you can.
Shall I start with general?
Yeah,
let's start general and then really vague.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's two I can think of specifically that were really huge emotionally. I don't get warned before the day. As I said, if I haven't gone through that spreadsheet, that's on me.
Yeah.
But as a performer, that's my job to access that very easily. The good thing about Karlach, technically, is that she's got such deep buried trauma that I've been ignoring and pushing away. The moment I'm asked to release that, it's like a volcano. Oh. And thankfully, by the time I was doing those big scenes, I had got the discipline of what was required for me to make a good mocap, as in returning to the end at the end. Remember to stop, because you're nothing like giving your heart and then it's an unusable take. And you only get so many of those that are genuine, so they would use, maybe we do it twice, and then they would have it, to be quite honest with you. So that's good, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
That's encouraging. But yeah, just in that helped me because I was repressing her trauma and we weren't dealing with it, and it's all bants and jokes and la da da. Is when we get to it, it just all comes up. It's all been ready to come up for ages, and there it is.
Oof. It must be a scene. I mean, to have all of that out there, and it's just amazing to see, like, especially for you guys have to know these backstories, and you have to then express these emotions in such a way, and then when a player sees it, they feel it. So it's just so incredible to see this whole process from how it starts from the writers to then to you guys performing it, then to players seeing it and experiencing it. It's just I just thinking about it just makes me like, wow, this is such a amazing path of this character arc, I guess you can say. But like a lot of people I know are trying to be voice actors themselves, trying to get into video games, trying to get into all of this because it's popping up. So do you have any of the like kind of advice for anybody who's starting up or who is already in there? What kind of advice would you like to give to them?
Yeah, I've got some tough love and some home truths for everyone. Everyone else is so nice about it. I thought, well, why not be me? I mean, just don't concentrate on the voice. Think of the actor part. I get people who are like, they literally have rolled out of bed and they're like, oh, you seem to be making a living out of it. I think I fancy it. It looks easy. Yeah. What do you advise? And well, what have you acted in? And then they get very confused. So I would say fall in love with the storytelling part. As you said, it's this beautiful chain from the writer to the actor to the cinematics team to the audience, and then back to the creatives again, because we get given love back, and that's again, it's an incredible thing to experience. And as you can see, we do these sort of public appearances because we want to show how grateful we are, and the fact that you love it means that we did a good job. So when times were hard, I would think of the audience and go, but they're gonna love it, mate. They're gonna love it. So know you're tired, they're gonna love it, so do it. There's a great website. If someone's starting out, there's a great website by D. Bradley Baker, who, if you've seen The Bad Batch, he is all of The Bad Batch.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's called iwantobeavoiceactor.com. And there is so much information, particularly for US actors when it comes to union versus non-union. Another thing is like I get people saying, well, I shouldn't charge anything yet because, I'm not good enough. And it's like, well, if you're not good enough, you shouldn't be doing this. And if you're not charging, you're undercutting me. You're not going to get the answer that you want if you say that. So you have to have that self-confidence, and you say, well, how do you get that self-confidence, Sam? You crazy. And like, perform in front of people, like just go and see, and you will learn. That's how people used to do it. It's not all about like you have to go to a drama school for 3 years. In fact, that's kind of what's replaced that touring theatre thing that we used to have in the UK. You're not getting that experience, so you train for 3 years, and it's very intensive, and the idea is it replicates that experience. It's not about elitism, but like if you can afford classes, go and do them, please. Everyone just wants to buy a microphone. Just it's like, go for it, but like don't be upset when you don't understand why it's not working out.
That's true.
So tough love and home truths for everyone.
I think everybody needs to hear this actually, because a lot of people I know just buy great microphones, and then when it comes to acting, I'm like, oh, you have to do that too. So so
that's the big bit.
That's a bit
really hard bit, like accessing the emotions. When they chuck that big scene at you, like you're the one on the line. You can't blame the writer or the director. Like even if it was their fault, you can't blame them. So it's all on you. So you've got to do it right.
That's true. That's very true. I hope a lot of people get to understand this, and proceed with that in that way. But I'll end you up with like this one last thing, and I know a lot of people love sending, asking you stuff about the character. Is there something that people always ask you all the time?
Just going back to like, they'll go, I love the voice, and you go, that's really sweet, but so much of it was mocap. I'd say like less than 10% was voice, and that's your in battle barks, you know what I mean, all of that sort of stuff. Like there's a lovely bit I love when she gets the date and she turns away and she goes, yes, that was me.
That
was me. And the movement directors, or I should say performance directors, as they're credited in the game, and like it's I will take the credit for that, thank you very much. We all put in so much hard work for that, and you've got Deborah Wild, who was pregnant, very pregnant, and did all that. I think again, amazing technology. They could put all the dots. Like it was, and it got to get to summer and heat wave, and
Yeah.
sauna suit, and you know, I'm absolutely going to keep saying that we did mocap for this. There you go.
Yes.
That's
Hell yeah. That's great. No, I love that. And you brought up the date, and I love that date. I just really love that date. It was so sweet. It was so amazing. I was like, this is great. I want this. This is amazing. I just love her, you know.
And so in contrast to maybe, you know, other characters in the game.
I want this.
Will is quite courtly. Will is very courtly. You might get a kiss on the cheek by the end of the game. Spoilers, sorry.
At least it's like completely different from, you know, Lae'zel. And I was like, I want this. Whereas Karlach is like, oh, let's go to a date. It'd be great. One of the.
Karlach wants this, but there's a reason why she can't get it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And I think within the date scene, but because of the way, and it should be because of the way the options are structured. Like if you miss your chance, you're not going to get that option again. I remember recording something about, and it may have been cut, that she used to get around a bit in the gate. She had a reputation. But now she's been to the hells and she's been back. She's had a little bit of a chance to actually think about relationships with people, and that she actually wants. She never had a relationship, and it doesn't mean that like she has not got experience. It's quite the opposite actually. So she's looking for quality rather than quantity now. So it's in there somewhere. I'm sure it's in the data mined voice file somewhere, but it is in there. But it's that little bit of backstory, because you have that instinct. And you assume stuff, and then when it actually comes up in the script, you go, "Oh yeah, thank God." That's what I've been playing.
Oh man, that's lovely. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time for talking about Karlach. A lot of people are having such a great time playing Karlach, and I've seen, especially some people, I don't know how they get this, but they have their own camera built in the game, and they take some really amazing screenshots. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this looks so good. So,
oh yeah, those are amazing, aren't they? I'm like, on PS5, are we? Damn
it. Yeah, but like I'm excited for people to finally get to play on consoles coming next month. So yeah, thank you so much for all taking the time. It's been great, and I'm just excited for more people to play this. They're just having such a great time. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Api.